Let us try to solve the problem number 5 in the part B of C# and .NET Lab. In this particular problem, we are supposed to design a VB form that looks like this. There are 4 buttons out there that will perform the addition, save, clear and delete. And there are navigation buttons out there that allows us to go forward and backward within the table. Let's look at the problem first. So we are supposed to design a VB form that accepts the user name, title, that is the author name, title and the price. So this is the author name, title and price. And when the add button is pressed, an empty row is created in the database. So when you click on this add, an empty row is created in the database. When the save button is pressed, data is stored in the database. So this, when save button is pressed, data has to be stored in the database. And when the delete button is pressed, the current record has to be deleted from the database. However, they have not mentioned what to be done when the clear button is pressed. Okay. I assume that the content that is shown over here will be cleared. They have said perform the navigation if the database contains one or more records. Okay. Then the next part that they are saying is all the data is mandatory. Price must be numeric greater than 0. This is what they have said. Okay, so let's look at how this can be done. First of all, I'm going to design the database. For this, I'm going to go to the Microsoft Access. And as you know that create a blank database. So I'm going to click on this blank database. Now the blank database may appear as other side of your window if you are using the older version of Microsoft Access. In any case, click on the look at the place where you have this blank database. Click on it and give the proper name to the database. I'm going to call this as authors database. So I will call it as authors DB, and you are supposed to store it at the proper location, but I prefer to store it in my documents. Let it be there in the my document. Now if you are working on the lab machine, it is better you give the 3 last digit of your register number. So you know that your register number will start with the U230S and something. The last 3 digits, let's say the last digit is 256. If that's the last 3 digit, just type the 3 digits so that you will not have problem with the other students who are using your machine or who are sharing your machine. Maybe the other batch student may come and do it. So in that case, give a proper name. So I have given a name to the database. Let's click on create and it will create the database. Few things you must understand here is whenever we want to delete or edit, we need a primary key. Hope you are familiar with the primary key concept in your database. So this is what the Microsoft Access is going to show me. You can either click on the save button, which is here, the save, or you can press Ctrl S. I prefer to press Ctrl S, and you can give a proper name to the table. I'm going to give the name to the table as let's say authors TBL, short form for table. You can give any name. Let's click OK. Once I click on that, let me go to the design view over here. You can just click on this one, or you can click on the down arrow and then select the design view, one and the same. You can directly click over here or click on this one. Now the first field is ID and it is auto number. It is automatically generated, so you don't need to bother about that. The second one is the one that we are going to start with. So I'm going to start with the author name. I call it as a name. It is short text. Then I'm going to store the title of the book. Let it be short text. And finally, I'm going to store the price. In Microsoft Access, you have an option for storing the price as currency. Store it as currency. If you don't get to numerical 10,2 or something of that type, you can store it. Once that is done, let's click on the save to save this database. Very important thing over here. Very important thing to be noted over here is that do not keep the database in this place because you are editing it. Shift to the table view. Okay, you have to remember that if you are opening this database, keep it in the table view, because if you are in the design view, you are changing the structure of the database. And when you change the structure of the database, in particular structure of this particular table, if you are changing the structure of the table, database will not accept any data from the users. So be careful with that. So go to the design view, keep it as it is. If you want, you can save it. Now there are no records are there. This particular field, don't worry about it. It will be automatically created, or the values for this will be automatically created by the Microsoft Access. Now let me go to the Visual Studio and let me start a new project. I'm going to click on File, New and Project. And I'm going to select the Visual Basic as my project. And under that, I'm going to select the Windows Forms. We are supposed to design this particular form that has a label and a text box and maybe a few buttons on that. So here I have my Visual Studio, and under this Visual Studio I will select the Visual Basic, and under Windows I'm going to select Windows Forms application. Give a proper name to your application and store it at proper location. I'm not going to do that thing. Let's click OK to create the Visual Studio VB project. And when the project is created, the Visual Studio is going to show you a blank form. On this blank form, we are supposed to create a few things. So what are the few things that we are supposed to create is we are supposed to create a label that says author's name and a text box and so on. We have to create three such things. So if I go to the Visual Studio project, you are going to get the form here. I'm going to click on this form and I'm going to slightly increase the size of the form by clicking on this and dragging it. So you can just drag it and make it slightly larger. And then I'm going to go to the toolbox over here, and in the toolbox I'm going to select the text box as my first option, the label as my first option. I'm going to just type the label. You can search for the label here, but I'm going to just select it. Double click on it, so the label will appear here. See, once if you get like this, when you get the mouse outside, if you get like this, press escape. That's simple as that. Okay, so let's go to the toolbox again, and I'm going to type the text box. Double click on this text box, and again, if you get this text box like this, press escape button on your keyboard and it will vanish. Keep the text box, drag it and just keep it here. Keep the label at a proper location. Now click outside and make a rectangular box. I'm just dragging it. Click and drag. Don't click on the label or anything. Click outside. You have plenty of place here. Click outside and make a selection. by dragging it. So click and drag it. You can do it from any direction. Press down the control button and come to the label or the text box. Anywhere you see the four-headed arrows, click and drag down. Leave the mouse pointer first, that is mouse button first, and then the control button. So you made a copy of it. Similarly, press the control button again on your keyboard. Click and drag down. Leave the mouse button first, followed by the control. So you have the three things that are created. Let me go to the toolbox again, and I'm going to search for the button. So I have this button. Double click on it. As usual, if you come to this side, if you get a plus sign or a button something, press escape. That's simple as that. Okay, click on the button and just drag it down. Don't press the control, just to drag it and leave it at a proper location. Now hold down the control button, click on the button and just drag it. Leave the mouse button first, followed by the control button. So you have made a copy of it. Again, click on it, hold down the control button on your keyboard, click and drag, right? Leave the mouse button first and then the control, and again click on it, press the control button, click and drag, and you have one more button. In the same way, I'm going to create 4 more buttons. So click and hold down the control, click on the button, drag it and just leave it. Leave the mouse button first, followed by the control button. In the same way, you can do it for the other one. So press down the control button, drag it to the other side. You have one more button. Again, hold the control button, drag it, leave the mouse button first, followed by the control button, and lastly, again, see, if you without the control, if you try to drag it, it is how it's going to go. With the control button pressed, if you drag it, you will make a copy of it. So these are the things that we are supposed to create it. And if you want, you can just adjust the size of the form to make it look neat. And then we are supposed to, where are the things? Then we are supposed to type few things. So that is the author name, title, price, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to click on this first label over here. So click on the first label, right click on it and go to the properties. You get the property window here, and pin this one because we are going to use it for the others. Just pin it, not this X button, not the down arrow. Just click on this pin button. It's going to be pinned here. And I'm going to go down to the, this is my label 1. I'm going to go down and I'm going to say author's name. So author's name, that's the first one, that is the author's name. I'm going to click on the next one, and the next one is the title. So I'm going to change the title as the next label, and the last one is happens to be price. I'm going to type on the text. I'm just changing the text of the label, that's it, as the price. That being done, let's go to the next part. Then we have add, save, clear, and delete. So I'm going to do that thing. So I'm going to click on the button. If you have closed this one, right click and go to the properties. It's going to appear here. So this is the first button. I'm going to change the text as add for the first button. So that's done. Let's click on the second button, and I will go to the text of the second button, and I'm going to delete this, whatever it is there. The next one is the save. That's the next button. Let me go to the next button over here, and I'm going to change the text of this one, and I'm going to change it as clear. Let's go to the next button, and the last button over here is the delete button. So you have this delete button. That being done, let's go to the next button, and the next button happens to be these arrows. If you notice, the next side is double arrow and so on and so forth. So I'm going to just type them. So there's nothing much to be done. So select this button, and if you want, right click and properties. It is one and the same. And then I'm going to go here to the text. This is to less than arrows. So in your keyboard you get this less than arrows. So select that less than arrows in your keyboard, or the angled bracket, whatever you call it as. Then you have the next one, that is, this is the single less than arrow. Okay, this is there in your keyboard, just search for it. And the next button, I'm going to change the text of this next button as a greater than symbol. On your keyboard you are going to get it, or the closing angled bracket, whatever you call it as. The last one happens to be the 2 greater than symbol. So that's what you're supposed to do it. And let's look at what else they have done. They have given the title as author's data entry form. So let me go to the form. Just click on the empty place anywhere in the form, anywhere empty place, here, anywhere. You get this form here, form properties. If you don't get, right click on the empty place and go to the properties. You will come back to the same place. And here, and what is that they have, I just forgot. Okay. Author's data entry form. This is what they have written, author data entry form. So I will type the same thing, author data entry form. Done, that is done. And the last thing, the fancy thing they have done is they have put some color over here. So let me go there and put a color. So just click on this form, anywhere in the form, go to the properties, and you have this back color, and just select a black color. I'm going to select this active caption as the color. I think that's the color they are putting. Okay, some color, the plus or minus, you will get some color. One color has to be put, that's it. If that's done, let's now go to the business, and let's start typing the code. Now, in order to connect, this form has to be connected to my Microsoft Access database. So my Microsoft Access database is there. So I have to connect to this Microsoft Access database. How do I do that thing? So how do you connect your mobile to the plug point? You use an adapter, okay, that you call it as charger. The same thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to use an adapter to connect to the database. So how do I do that thing? So I'm going to go to the empty place anywhere in this form, empty place, in this lot of empty places there, not the button nor the other, this empty place is there. Just a double click on this empty place. Okay, double click on this empty place. Visual Studio will give you the code view. Now I don't need this properties window anymore, so don't close that, unpin it. So some students, you just close it, don't close it, unpin it. It's going to be there for the next work, whatever you are doing. Okay, I'm going to declare a few global variable which is required to me within the class over here. So not this method, within the class. So I will create class members. First I'm going to create the data adapter. So I'm going to say dim DA, you can give any name, DA is the shortcut. So as new, okay, and I told you before also, if you are using Microsoft SQL Server, it is SQL, it starts with SQL. If you are starting using Oracle, it starts with the Oracle. However, if you are using Microsoft Access, it is not Access, it is OLEDB. Okay, so you must remember that if it is Microsoft Access, it is OLEDB. You start with the OLEDB. That word has to be there. So this is one word that distinguishes you from the using different databases. Okay, then I'm going to say I want to connect to the data source there. So I'm going to say data adapter. Okay, so OLEDB data adapter, this thing you have to type it properly. So you must remember this word. If you remember this word, that's enough. The rest will Visual Studio will help you. Now what the Visual Studio is going to show you is it's going to say that see, this thing whatever you have typed is not known to me, but I know that it is there in this namespace. Do you want me to import it? So I will say import it just by clicking on it. When I click on it, it just adds system.data.oledb. Okay, Again, for the student 100 times I have told them, but you are not doing it. Do not type it. Okay, if you feel like or if you are so happy typing, just open the notepad and start typing it. Okay, if you are using Visual Studio, allow the Visual Studio to do its work. Otherwise, you are just insulting one of the greatest IDE that is there on earth. Okay, this will be an insult to the people who have created the Visual Studio. So Visual Studio is there to help you out with the code. Allow it to do that thing. So if, some students, I find that you are typing here and you, instead of a capital S or small s, or instead of D, you type something else, and what happens is then entire code will go wrong. Okay, if you allow the Visual Studio to do it, it will do it properly, and you can be assured that whatever spelling that you have typed, or whatever the spelling that Visual Studio has typed, it is proper. Okay, so with that, let's go to the next part. This is the constructor, and if you notice that there are 4 overrides. So this is the advantage of using the IDEs. So they will tell you how many overrides are there. So you see there, first override says you have to give a OLEDB command, which is the next option. Next one, it says you type the select command, select statement, and then give me the connection. So 2 things it is saying. How do I use the select command? You know very well, select, you have already studied these databases, and in that you have this select star from, select star from table. What is the table name? If you go to Microsoft Access, the table name is authors table. You must very be careful. Authors table, whatever table name that you have given, that table name has to be there. So authors table, so just say authors TBL. Okay, so this is what you typed. Just cross verify, even though you are 100% sure, cross verify this is AUTHORSTBL. Otherwise this table will not exist and you get unnecessary error message. So authors table, comma. Now Visual Studio is going to say, tell me the connection. I don't have the connection. So if you go down, it says even if you know the connection string, I can connect to the database. How do I connect to the database? You know very well. To connect to the database, you go to the Solution Explorer. So just click on this Solution Explorer. If the Solution Explorer is not there, go to View, and I think you get the first option as the Solution Explorer. Okay, so go to the Solution Explorer, click on My Project. Okay, double click on My Project, and in this My Project, go to the Settings. Just click on the Settings here, and under this Settings, I'm going to, so you clicked on this Settings. Under this Settings, you give any name. This is a variable name. I'm going to say connection str. You can use str, anything, any name is a variable name, but do not put space because it's a variable name. Type of it is not the string, it is the connection string. So type of it is a connection string. You can notice that it's a connection string. Now it's going to say what is the value. So for this value, I'm going to go to the ellipses which are there on the right hand side here. So I will click on this ellipses, and you are shown a dialog box that will help you to select the database. First thing you must understand is by default it will select the SQL Server as your database file, but that we don't have the SQL Server now. So I'm going to click on the change, and I'm going to select Microsoft Access database. Okay, if you are using Oracle, just click on the Oracle. Anyhow, I'm not going to use it, so I'm going to just use Microsoft Access. And you notice when you select the Microsoft Access, it will tell you, Visual Studio itself will tell you that the data provider is OLEDB. So here you will get the first hint that it is OLEDB. Okay, so select OK, and then the Visual Studio is going to show you one more dialog box asking you to give the path of the database file. Now I have stored it in my documents, so I'm going to click on this browse, and I'm going to select my documents as my choice over here. I'm going to select my documents, okay, and I will search for the Microsoft Access database. So somewhere I'm going to get this authors. I must get this authors DB. This is the database that I've just created. If you notice, it is not the table name I'm searching. It is the database name that I have just created. Authors. We notice authors DB. This is the database I have selected. Click OK. Click open to open it. Okay, now sometime you are going to get this message asking you that enter the new name, because this file is been locked. Okay, in that case, what are you going to do? You're going to just close this Microsoft Access database for now. Close it. Then go back to the authors table. Again, say my documents, authors table is there. Click open, because that file will be locked. So just close Microsoft Access and you are done with it. Okay, done. Let's click test the connection. I'm going to just test the connection. Okay, so test the connection. Generally you get the test connection is true. My machine happens to be slow, that is why it is taking too much of a time for it to just make simple things. Let's click OK, and the connection is done. Click on save all. So just to see to it that everything is saved. Let's come back to the form 1. Okay, so we are in the form 1, and here this is the place where we are left with. So we have the OLEDB adapter and we have the select statement, and we need the connection string. Where is the connection string? It is there in my settings. So my dot settings, and then you have this connection string. This is the one that I have just created, connection string. If you notice, this is the constr. And where is it? It is there in the settings. And where is it? It is there in the my project. So that is what I am typing, my.setting.connection string. That is one that I have it. Now I have established, let me open this Microsoft Access database. Where is the documents? Okay, in this I have Microsoft Access database. Let me open that. Where is this? I think now it is there in the last thing. I don't know where is this authors. Let me give me 1 second. Let me search for this authors DB. Okay, it's there. Okay, authors DB is there. I'm going to just open it and just show you that in this particular authors DB, and this table is there. Okay, where is it? Okay, here. Now this structure table, this structure has to be created. Okay, now it looks like a array, so with the rows and columns. So you notice that array. However, it is not an ordinary array, because if you studied structure in C, it looks like a structure. So first one is the ID, second one is the author name, and the third one will be the title, and so on. So we have to create this array like structure, so two-dimensional array like structure inside our program. How do we do that thing? For that, there is a built-in, you don't need to create an array, there is a built-in object that can do it, and that is called as the data set. So we are going to say dim, I'm going to create a variable name, just say ds as data set. Remember, data set has nothing to do with the databases. So it is not OLEDB database data set, Oracle data set or anything. It is just the data set. Okay, so this is an advertisement from the antivirus. So let's go ahead with the next one. Now I need one more thing that I'm going to use it is I need to know, see, when you click on this forward and backward arrows, I need a variable to say which is my current location. See, Microsoft Access is actually showing you this is your current location. If you add one more record, it's going to show this is your current location. I must know which is my current location. For that, I need a variable, and I'm going to use the variable as I as my variable, and I'm going to say dim I as integer, an integer variable, integer variable. So this variable I'm going to use it for my work. Now next one is the first thing that I'm going to do is when the form is loaded. So this is already there. This method is there. If you don't get this method, just go to the form, double click on this form, you get this method. When this form is loaded, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this adapter. This adapter that has select star from authors. This query is already there. I'm going to ask this adapter to go to the database, fetch all the records from the database, and then fill this particular data set. Remember, what is this data set? It is array like structure. So you are going to go to the Microsoft Access, get all the records which are there, and then fill this particular data set. That is what you are going to do. How do you say that? Remember that I'm going to do it when the form is loaded. So when this form is being shown to the user, at that time I will ask this data adapter to go to the Microsoft Access. So I'll go to the data adapter DA, and I'm going to say fill this data set. So remember, DA is my adapter, so I am asking this adapter. So hey adapter, go to the database, okay, and fill this data set. So simple as that. Go use this query. This is the query, select star from this, use this query, and then fill the database data set. So that is one that is being done. And I'm going to initialize the starting location as I equal to 0. You know very well, in the array, you've studied some part in C programming at least. The first location of the array is always A of 0. You know that. So you start with the A of 0. Then you are going to say A of 1 and so on and so forth. So I am using this A of 0, indicating that I am going to use the first thing. Okay. Now in this case, this is your array you are talking about. Now that this I is not referring to the first element of this array. Remember that. So it is a two-dimensional structure. Okay, that I gave you an analogy how the array is working. So here you have a number of records in your Microsoft Access. If you look at this Microsoft Access, in the first year you have seen it. So the first record has the index 0. First record contains author's name, title, price, and so on. Okay. Next record will have I value equal to 1. Next record will have I value equal to 2, and so on. So in other words, I am telling, logically, what I'm saying is when the form is loaded, you go and point to the first record, whichever first record is there in the database. You just point to that particular record in the database. So that is the logical significance of saying I equal to 0. I am pointing to the first record. Nothing is there in this record, in this particular database or table. So I'm just asking it, go and just keep the pointer at the first location. That is the logical significance why I am setting it as 1. Okay, I'm going to write a method, okay, to just show the content in this form, because I'm going to use it again and again to show the content. So I'm going to write a particular method called let me call it as a display method. So I'm going to say sub, not dub, it is sub. Okay, and I'm going to let me say private is okay, private sub. Let me call this one as a display, DISP play. Okay, This is the method. I'm going to just press enter. This is my procedure that's going to show me all the records which are there in the database. Okay, so let me try to do that particular thing. Now, first thing is, if you notice over here, in my case, there is nothing is there in this database table. It is perfectly empty. If you notice, okay, if there is empty, what are you going to show in this form? So simple as that. You're not going to show anything, okay, because nothing is there in that. If suppose some records are there, that means we can show it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just count how many records are there. Now if I ask Microsoft Access, count how many records are there, Microsoft Access is going to give you a big 0, saying that there is no records are there. Suppose if I fill the content, one record is there, it's going to say. If I add one more record, it's going to say 2 records are there, and so on and so forth. So if the count is more than 0, that means some records are there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that particular thing. Remember, from now onwards, I'm not going to go to the Microsoft Access. Why? Because in my code, what did I do here in my code is I asked this adapter, OLEDB adapter. I asked this adapter, when the form is loaded, go to the database and fill this data set. So my entire records, whatever records are there in my database, are all there in this data set now. So now I am going to just ask this data set, hey data set, tell me how many records are there. So in other words, give me the count of records which are there with you. Now in my case, definitely no records are there. It's going to give me a big 0, saying that there is nothing is there. But I'm going to just say that thing. So if I'm going to start with that, if data set, okay, data set, remember one other property of the data set is very complicated structure. Okay, it's a complicated object. It can store, now this is going to blow your mind, it can store the records from different tables. You can have number of tables here, and every table will have different records. Okay, this table will also have different records. For example, you can have authors table, that is what you have, authors table. You can have salary table, okay, and you can have sales table, anything you can get. Now there is only one record is there, one table is there. In my case, if you have many tables, it can store the data from different tables. This is one table, authors table. You have many records in the authors table. In the same way, you may have one other table with its own records. You may have one more table with its own records. You can have any number of tables. Then how do I identify the table? I can identify the table with the table name, or like array, the first table has the index 0, second table has the index 1, third table has the index 2, and so on. I'm talking about the table. So this table has the index 0. Within this table, first record will have the index 0. It's like array inside array. Okay, so you have 3-dimensional array and so on. So far, you might have studied that thing in your C program. So this is what I'm going to say. So data set in general, data set will have multiple number of tables. Okay, in my case, as of now, there is only one table is there, because you are selecting it from one table. You can select it from multiple tables. There is nothing wrong in it. Okay, so in my case, I have only one table. So I have to refer it as table of 0. That is the first. I can use the name of the table, but while filling, I have not given a name. You can optionally give the name, but I'm not going to do it. So because you don't need to type that name and other things. The first index is 0 here. So I'm going to say data set, you have number of tables. Okay, I am interested in the first table. Table 0 means data set, you may have number of tables, you may have it, now you don't have it, but in any case give me the first table. This is the first table. You may have the second table that will have the index 1. As of now I don't have it, so table 0. Then this table contains number of rows. Okay, now I am asking it, so you know very well, data set contains tables, and tables contains rows. That is called, we call it as records, is it not? Okay, so rows, and I'm asking it, give me the count of rows, not this rows, give me the count of rows. If this count of rows is greater than 0, that means there are some records are there. So it's as simple as that. So I'm asking the data set, you have number of tables, go to the first table, that is the table with the index 0, and count how many records are there. Okay, if at all there are records are there, count how many records are there. If the records are greater than 0, that means you are supposed to show it. If the records are 0 itself, if you get big 0, that means there is no records are there. As simple as that. Okay, so I'm going to go over here, and if the count is greater than 0, then I'm going to show the content. Okay, now the few things that you must do, I'm going just to show the content first. Let me show the content here. So what you are going to do, I left a few things over there because I need to tell you few other problems that is going to appear. So I will go to the text box 1 first, and I'm going to say text box dot text is equal to, now again the same story, data set, not data adapter, data set has number of tables, and I am interested in the first table. Because the count is greater than 0, remember that means there will be some records are there. Now I am interested in the ith record because this is a general method. So I can't just say show me the record row number 1. Okay, row number 1, I can't show that thing. So it is in general, so I'm going to use here. Okay, and I'm going to say ith record. I am interested in, notice that I am using this I here. Let me show here I, that indicates my current location, that is the ith record. I'm going to say I as integer. Okay, why? Because I want to show the ith record. So if I is 5, that means I want to show the 5th record. If I is 4th, I want to show the 4th record. I is 10th, I means I want to show the 10th record. So I want to show the record number I, not 1. I want to show the record number ith record. Okay, so in other words, I want to show, where is the database, I want to show the ith records. This I could be anything. Now it is 0, but you may have lot of records over here, and I am interested in the ith record. Show me the ith record. So that is what I want to tell here. Now ith record, if you notice over here, suppose if this is the ith record has field. First field as usual will have the index 0. Second field, like your database, second field will have the index 1. Third field, that is a title, will have the this. Fourth field will have this. So you always start with the I of 0, like it's like an array. Okay, so it is the first item, this is the 0th index item, this is the first indexed item. I am talking about the index here. Next one will be the second index item, third one will be the third index item. So I am going to say remember, you are not going to use this one. It is ID is auto number. Let me just so here it is auto number, it will be automatically created for you, so you don't need to worry about that. So let me go over here and say in the ith record you have lot of items. Okay, and I am interested in the first item, not the 0th item. You may say that, see, you said the first table is index 0. First row is index 0. Why are you not writing 0 here? Remember, I'm not going to write 0 because 0 is the auto number. This is the 0th 1. This is the first one. So you have 0 here, this one is 1 here, this one is 2 here, this one is 3 here. Okay, 0th we are not going to touch throughout, because Microsoft Access is going to take care of that. Okay, let me go here and let me say this is the first one. That's done. And I'm not going to type again and again. I'm going to just select this Control C and Control V and one more Control V. This is the text box number 2. This I'm talking, this is the first text box. This is the second text box. This is the third text box. Okay, done. So this will be the third text box. In the second text box, so in the first text box I'm going to get the name, in the second text box I'm going to get the title, in the third one I'm going to get the price. So this is the second one, this will be the third one. Remember, always remember, this has the index 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Index, I'm talking about the index, not the position here. So that's the index. However, there is one minor problem over here. This item number 3, if you notice, item number 3 is price. Already it is showing it is a numerical value. If you notice that price is a currency, is a numerical value, so it is not a text. So when you try to assign a numerical value to a text field here, okay, this is, sorry, this is 3 here, I don't know why it is coming 2. So this is a text field here. When you get to the text field here, this item number 3 is numeric. Here you notice that 0.0. You are going to get an error. So I'm going to just say convert it into string, to string. I'm going to just say convert it into to string. It's a method here, to string. Get the string value of this numeric value which is there, convert it into string and then store it. Otherwise you are going to get a nasty error message there. Okay, now suppose if the number of records are 0, if the number of records are 0, what are you going to do? You're going to clear all the records which are there. Okay, you will show a blank screen like this. You're going to show this blank screen without any records. So if any previous records are there, you're going to just clear them out. So how do we do that thing? Now I'm going to go for vertical selection. So you know very well how to select a vertical selection. Keep the cursor here, press the Alt key, click and drag down. Remember, first go down and then to the right side. You will select all of them. Control C to copy and Control V to paste it. Okay, this is vertical selection. So how do I do it? Click here, press down the Alt button, ALT button, press it down, get it down, and then to the right hand side. Control C to copy, Control V to paste it. So I'm going to set everything as blank. This is what I'm doing. Set everything, that is empty string. So this is like clearing. It is a bad way of saying I will clear all the content. If there are no records are there, any past records are there, then I'm going to clear it. Now there are few things that you are supposed to do. And what are the few things is, you can go forward direction, you can go reverse direction. So when you go reverse direction, what happens, see, you have lot of records are there. Let's assume that you have lot of records. This is one record, this is second record, this is third record, and so on. Records has a author's name, author title, and so on. So many records are there. When you go to the forward direction, you increase I++, you know this I++ of a C program. So I++ will take you to the next one. 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 This is the last record. If you do I++, what is going to happen? You will go outside this full set itself. So you must check this. Are you going outside this limit? Okay. So how do I know that? Are you going to this outside this limit? I know that I can use the count method. So there is this count method that's going to give me the count of records. When I increase this I++++++, if this is going above this count that means you have left this set itself, you are going outside this. Now how do I go back? You know very well your famous trick, I minus minus. So this I minus minus, it will go one step back. I minus minus, it will go one step back. I minus minus, it will go one step back. I minus minus, it will go one step back. I minus minus, you are outside this. This is the 0th index. You are going below this 0. So if I is equal to, let's say if I is equal to 0, what is I minus minus? I minus minus will be negative number. So if you get this negative number, that means you are going before the set. If you are going, if the I value is greater than the count, then you are going outside this list. So either you go outside the last record, or you may go outside or before the first record. So you have to bind yourself within that. How do I do that thing? I have to take care of this. So this I value, whatever I am getting it, okay, I'm going to check. So if I is less than 0, then I'm going to set I is equal to 0. Again, see, you see this, they're doing advertisement actually. Okay, this is nothing wrong if you're recording it, and then they will just show that their antivirus is being used. Okay, so in any case, so let's have this I. Next one, if I is greater than data set has tables, you see this, I am interested in the first table. Tables has lot of rows, and I'm going to use the count of the rows. So this is it. What did I do it here is, even though I got distracted by this antivirus message, what I'm doing is, there are two things that I'm doing. So you have a number of records are there. So you have number of records are there. Okay, so how many records are there? How do I know that thing? How many records are there is given by this count. Rows.count will count the rows. Suppose if your I value is going above this, either remember count means if, how many records are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the count value is 5. But what is the index value? Index starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, index is 1 less than the count. So if the I value is 5, what is the meaning? If I is 5 means I is equal to the count value. Count, you are counting it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But index is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So count is always greater than the index. So if this index value is 5, what is the meaning? So you are going beyond this last record. So get it back to the first record. How do I do that thing? So I am going to say I is equal to, how do I say? I is equal to, say again story, data set has tables. Okay, I am interested in the 0th index table. Table has number of rows, and there are count of rows are there. Count minus 1. So 5 minus 1 in this my example what I just gave you, 5 minus 1 will be 4. So in other words, what I want to say is a lot of records are there, okay, in your database. If you are going beyond this, just get it back to the last record. So if when you say I plus plus, if you're going beyond the last record, just get it back to the this. There are some people, what they do is, you know, this circular list or circular queue or something. You go back to the first record. That is circular. I hope you studied some data structure story. You can go from the last, you can go back here and then continue, but I'm not going to do it. If you are going outside, just get it back. So this is why I'm doing, you know, your PT sir was there. So he used to ask you, stand in line. So if you go outside the line, you will get one beating from PT sir and you will get back to the line. Okay, that's it. So you are going outside means you'll get one beating from your PT sir and you will get back to that. So this is what I'm doing. If you are going beyond the count, get it back to the count. Same story. If you are going beyond this first record, so this, when you do this I minus, I minus, I minus, if you are coming before the first record, then get it back to the first record. So if you are going below this first record, this is index 0th record, get it back to this one. So that's as simple as that. That two things you need to take care when you are handling that. So this is my display, and my display is ready now. So when the form is loaded, I just going to call this display. Okay, I'm going to call this display method, and I'm going to supply the I value. I is 0, that is, in other words, what I want to say is I is 0 now. What is the meaning? If there are any records are there in the database, you may have lot of records in the database, show the first record if at all there is there. If it is not there, well and good. Okay, that's done. That's being done. Let's go ahead with the next part. So what is the next thing that we are supposed to do it? I'm going to finish off the adding and deleting first, and then I will use this display story. Okay, so let's look at the how do I add the record. I'm going to go here. I will start with this first one. I'm going to double click on this button, add button. So you can go to the, suppose if you have closed this, what are you going to do? Go to the solution explorer, double click on this form, you are going to get back to this. Okay, so let me double click on this add now. So when this button add is clicked, what are you going to do? So what are you going to do? Add means, what is this add? According to them, what they have said, let's look at what they have said. Where is this? When add button is pressed, an empty row is created. An empty row has to be created. Now where are you going to create it? Remember, you have fetched all the records and filled this data set. So now you are going to play only with the data set. So here you have this data set, big data set, that contains a number of records. Okay, number of records. Okay, when you press on this add button, so this button, you are going to create an empty record. So you have to tell this data set, give me a new row. So they give me a new blank row. So how do you say that? Again, story is simple. You go to this data set. Data set has a lot of tables. You go to the first table, and table has a lot of rows. But this time you are going to tell this particular table that I am not interested in all rows. Give me a new row. That's simple as that. Remember, I didn't go to the rows here. I am just asking the table. Remember, when you say rows, you have this rows, row number 1 row, 2 row, 3 row. I am not interested in the row. What I am telling to this table itself is, hey table, give me one extra, add one extra row or add one extra record there. So that's simple as that. So add new row. That is as simple as that. You can get it in a plain English. You are just asking it to add new row. Okay, tables, add dot new row. If you want, you can put the, I don't think so that this, it came automatically, but if it is not there, I'm going to remove that this, if I get an error. Okay, I get that. Okay, so let me go to the next one. What is the next one? Next one is I'm going to double click on this save. Okay, so when you click on this save, what is that they said, whatever new record, empty record you have created, that whatever value is there, that has to be stored in the database. So that is the next part. Let's go back to the code. So when the second button is clicked, you are supposed to save it in the database. How do I do that thing? So when you created this empty row, now this story is there, this empty row is created. Okay, so this is very simple. You thought, okay, that's a very simple thing. You just go to the data table here, and in the data table there are a number of rows where there. You just tell the data table that, okay table, give me a row. It created a row, but where is that row? You must know where is this empty row. If you don't have the control of where is that empty row, how can you fill something into this empty row? Okay, So I need one extra variable. So I'm going to create just go up and I'm going to create an extra variable. I'm going to call dim. I'll call data row as okay, data row ROW, okay, data row. So this is the data row, one row, okay, and I'm going to whatever I need a reference to that. So I made it as a field here, that is a class level variable, because I need a reference in the other table there. So whatever new row that is created, so this is what you said, you went to the data set and you said give me the new row, that new row, this is the new row, so this is the new row, this one I'm going to store it in that data row so that I can fill that data row. Okay, so whatever you said here dr, I'm going to fill it. So what is this dr will now contain, so dr will now contain, so a lot of records may be there in your this what is data set. Now you are going to create a new row, that's it, and you are going to store that new row in this variable. So that's simple as that. Okay, now let's go ahead and when the save button is clicked, what are you going to do? Whatever you are typing in this particular text boxes over here, you are going to store them back in the data row. So remember data row, let's go to this data row. Data row has field, now we call them as item. The first item, remember, not why not the zeroth item, remember, always remember zeroth item is your index, so I'm not going to touch that. I start with the first item, second item, third item. So zeroth item, let's go here, I'm sorry, the first item will get the value from the text box 1. What is the first item, by the way? So text box 1 dot text, what is the first item? First item is the author name. Okay, author name will get the value from this text field, as simple as that. What about the second one? Okay, so let's say control C and control V. The second one will get it from the second field. Second one, what is second one? Title. Title will be stored in the title. Done. Let's go to the last one, that is the author. The third item will get it from the not the author, the price. Price will be there from the price. So simple as that. However, there is one minor problem with the price, that is price is this is a text box. This is actually a decimal value. This is a decimal value. You have to convert that text into decimal. How do you do that? You know very well, in your Visual Basic you have something called as C type. C type, convert this text, okay, as decimal. So this is what I'm going to say, convert this as decimal. Okay, done. Okay, now what are you going to do? Okay, you created a empty row here. So let's go back to the story. So you had a data set and you created a empty row here. Now this is an empty row, it has to be added back to the set. So you have this records were there here. Okay, it has to be added back to this set. So you have to add it back to this set here so that it will be part of this set. How do I do that thing? Now this time again I will start with the same story. I'm going to say, okay, so data set has tables story. Okay, same story, table has this and the table has a lot of rows. Now I have created one extra row and I'm going to add this data row to this. Okay, so I'm going to add them back. So this is a lot of records are there. Your database has a lot of records are there. You created one empty record. Okay, you filled this with the author name, price, and so on and so forth. Now it is the time to add them back to this set so that it will be the part of this set. So that is what I'm saying. I created an empty row here. I created this empty row here. I filled that empty row with the author name, author title, and price, and so on. Now I'm adding it back there. So this you have added it in your memory. So this everything whatever you have done in the memory. Now this whole thing has to go back to the database. This thing has to go back to the database. How do you send it back to the database? And for sending it back, you know very well this the query that we have written is select star from the table. Select means only selecting it. Okay, selecting. How do you put the data to the database? You have insert statement. Hope you have studied this. Insert into a table. You've done that thing. That insert command is required for me. Now I am not going to type that insert command. Okay, I am going to ask the Visual Basic itself, build it. So I will go to the data adapter here, and I'm going to ask the adapter, see, I have given you select statement. Look at the select statement and create a insert statement for me. So how do I do that thing? For this, I have to create a command builder. So I will going to just call it as builder, BLDER, just short form. Okay, equal to new, I'm going to say OLEDB, because we are starting with the OLEDB, you know that OLEDB command builder. I'm going to just use the one that is given by the Visual Studio. Okay, command builder. I'm going to build the commander. Who is going to build the commander? I'm going to go to the data adapter. So we started. How do I connect it to the database? Let's look at this. This is a story from where we started. I said the data adapter is going to connect to this database, and it is going to fetch the record. I gave it a select command. Now I am asking it, I gave you select command. Now I know I'm not going to tell you how to get the insert command. Look at that select statement and then give me a select command. So I am asking you to build the command for insert statement. I'm not going to give you, do it. So how do I do it? I'm going to say builder, okay, get the insert command. Okay, so simple as that. Okay, I'm going to say get the insert command. So it's going to look at it, and it's the Visual Basic is going to do it. Now you may ask, what is it going to do? Who cares? What is it going to do? Okay, let it do anything visual. It is the problem of Visual Basic. Let it look at the visual, select star from this. Let it look at this particular thing and let it build the command. So it is its problem, it is not our problem. That is why we are using, if we have to type everything on our own, then we will use a C programming language. There must be some advantage of using VB, is it not? So VB will do it for us. So then I'm going to say to the data adapter, remember the connection with your database is established by the data adapter. Now using the data adapter, you can only, so you know this adapter, you have the adapter for your mobile chargers. So it knows how to charge your mobile, it knows how to connect to your mobile. Similarly, data adapter knows how to connect to the database. So I'm going to say data adapter, hey data adapter, I have done changes to the data set. Even though you have read a data set from the database, you gave me the database from here. Now I have added a new row here. Update it back to the database. Get it back to the database. This new record, put it back, save it to the database. So how do I say that? So data adapter, and I'm going to say, hey data adapter, go and update this data set. I have made changes to this data set. I have made some modification to this data set. In particular, I've added a new record to this data set. Go and save it to the database. Once everything is done, now with this, the data adapter knows how to do it. But the user may not be knowing that the database is added. So I'm going to say show message box. So the famous thing that we are always using is I'm going to say record save. Remember, when you're doing practical, this word is very interesting. Okay, this word is interesting. You know what is a record, you know what is a table, you know what is a database, you know what is a workspace, you know everything. But a doctor or a maybe a bus conductor or somebody who is not familiar with the computer science, they don't know what is the meaning of saying record. Record means they are video recording. So they think like audio recording. So they may think that, oh, what is this record he is doing? Are he is storing my audio or what? So don't use this word record when you are writing the real program. So when are you going to write the real program? Next semester or maybe after that, when you are in the 6th semester, you're going to create a project. In that project, don't use this word record. Use a common thing that is understood by everybody. Okay, not by just a computer science professionals, but for your practical examination. You may say that, sir, you are always doing all simple things and you are putting the blame on practical examination. For the practical examination, do the simple thing, but in real life you have a lot of time to get a good words. If you don't get a good words, Google it and you will get the good words and then type it. I'm going to put the title here saying author's details as my title. So that's it. I've done it. Let us give it a first try to our project and see how many errors are we going to get. So I'm going to run it, and my machine is a bit slow, so it will take a slightly longer time for it to show the form. If there is no error, it's going to show that thing. So it when you I think that it is a bit slow. Okay, I don't know why it has become slow, but it is slow. So when the form comes in, we are going to enter a new record. Hopefully it is going to show me the form to me. Okay, so when this form is going to come, I'm going to type a new record into the database. Okay, so this is okay, so this you are going to say null. Okay, so that so there is no record which is there in the database. Okay, so this you're going to get an exception saying that so there is nothing, null exception has occurred. So first thing it's going to say that there is no records are there. So this is the first thing. So check whether you have anything in the database. You don't have any record. Okay, so what it says, exception system dot argument null exception, it's going to say, saying that see there is no record are there. So let me stop this thing and let's see what it is going to do. Okay, so here what it is going to say is if I just run it, okay, it's going to say that you don't have any records in your table over here. Okay, determine if the object is null before you call this one. Okay, what is the reason? What do you think is the problem here? Now the problem is I created, okay, a data set here. Okay, well and good, but the thing is I have not created an instance of it. So I'm going to just say, let me stop it. I'm going to create a, hope you are familiar with this story of object and class. So I need a new instance of that. If I don't create a new instance of this data set, hope you know what is the meaning of saying instance. It is just a variable. Okay, for this I need a memory allocation. Okay, memory allocation here. Now how do I get this memory allocation with the word new? If I don't put that new word there, it is just a null pointer. In C, if you have studied C, null pointer without any reference. So when you have this null pointer and try to use it, you're going to get an error message. So that's what I got here. So let me run it with the word new. I have added this word. It's good that again You get in a lot of see advertisement from my antivirus, but any case. So this new is very important because you have to create a reference to this. Now first thing, remember, this is a very crude way of saying, you click on the add. When I click on add, what happened? Where is this add story? When I click on add, I clicked on this add, I get an empty row. This is the empty row, and then I'm going to fill my own name now. First name is money. Okay. Title is VB programming. Let's say VB programming, and price is say 350 rupees dot 55 paise. Okay, so I have created a new record, no doubt. So I have created a new empty record, and I have filled all the content. Now this first field is this, second field is this, third field is the decimal of what I have typed, and I'm going to add and store it in the record, and finally I'm going to update it. Now see whether it's going to work now. So when I click on save, will I get, so I get the record is saved. I am here, record is saved. Can you see there? That means I have inserted it. Let me go to my database over here, and I'm going to just refresh it, and notice that I have created, and notice this very important thing, this is automatically taken care by the Microsoft Access. You don't need to do anything. Microsoft Access will do the needful to you. Okay, that's done. Click OK. That's done. But we are not done with this method. This is a very complicated method because you have few things to be taken care. All the fields are mandatory. Price must be numeric, and it must be greater than 0. So this story has to be taken care. Let's go back, and let's before we do anything, this part is working, no doubt this part is working. We need to check whether all the fields are there or not. So how do I do that? So very simple. If suppose remember, let's say suppose you have not filled, so this is already there. So this, you see, but the next time it's going to load. I'll come back to that part. Sorry. Suppose if you have not filled this one, then you have to add the author name. So that story I'm typing it here. Suppose if the text box one dot text, if this text box dot text, I'm going to trim this one. You know what is this trim? Trim is, suppose if you write like this. Let me cut this one. Let's run it. Suppose if you start by putting spaces, and after that also spaces, it's going to trim the spaces before and spaces after. So that is what is trimming from the left side as well as right hand side. So trim, after trimming, if it is blank, okay, this is what I'm going to say. Then I'm going to use a message box. So this story, you know very well, message box dot show, and I'm going to say please enter, what you can say, please enter author's name. Okay, and the title, what is the title you can give? What is the title you can give? Author details. Okay, that's it, and there is nothing else you can do it. You just return out of this method, return from this method. So simple as that. Okay, that's the first one. Let's click Ctrl C and Ctrl V. If the second text box is empty, what is there in the second text box? This is for the author, next one is for the title. So if the second is there, please enter title. Okay, again Ctrl C and Ctrl V. So you have the third text box if it is empty, and please enter price. The third text box is for the price, so I'm going to say please enter the price. So that part is done. Now if you say that is over, it is not over. What is not over is then we have to test whether it is where is it, what else we have, is it numeric? Okay, test again. Is it numeric? Again I'm going to Ctrl V. If the text box 3 is numeric, how do you test it? Is numeric, you have this story, is numeric. If it is numeric, if it is not, sorry, if it is numeric, well and good, yes or no. If it is not is numeric, okay, it's not is numeric, please enter numeric value. Now this is again a technical value for price, okay, that is it. Last one, the last story. What is the last story? Now if you want, you can convert it into number or string. So should I convert it into C type? So where is this? So C type text box 1 into decimal. Okay, I'm going to convert it into decimal, and if it is greater than 0. So what did I do is I've converted this text box, not 1, did I go for the text box 1, text box 3. So whatever that you are typing it in the text box 3, it is converted. C type is for conversion, convert it into decimal. Okay, if this value converted, decimal converted value, if it is greater than 0, well and good. If it is less than 0, so that is what they have said, it must be greater than 0, price must be greater than 0. If it is less than 0, you say price must be greater than 0. So that is the error message I'm getting. You can give proper message, but I can think about other names. Okay, so this is what you're going to get it. So let's run it and let's see whether we get everything. So remember, go by step. First you click on add. Okay, this I'll take care, don't worry. Okay, if you don't type anything and click on save, you must get, please enter author name. Okay, you enter author name, say Sunita. If you click on save, you say please enter title. Okay, she is also she is typing VB programming. Okay, one programming. Please again click on save. Please enter the price. I type price is 10 rupees. Save it. So you must please enter a numerical value for the price, minus 15 rupees, minus 25. Say, save it. The price must be greater than 0. Okay, finally you say 250 rupees, and what you must say, if you say yes, it is saved. Is it true? Let's go and to the access and refresh it. Sunita VB programming 250 rupees, it's there. Okay, done. Now only problem is when I click on add here, this thing is not clearing, so I assume that this clear is meant for clearing it. Okay, so let's click on that clear story. Let me click on this clear, double click on this clear. What is that we are supposed to do with the clear? I am going to use this one. Click here, hold the alt button, make the vertical selection. I think it is already there. Okay, Control C to copy it from here and Control V to paste it. You are clearing the text boxes, that's all. You are clearing the first text box, second text box, third text box, and so on. So let me run it and let me tell you what is it going to do. It is going to show you the content. When I say clear, text box 1 is empty, text box 2 is empty, text box 3 is empty. Clear. That's simple as that. It's going to clear it. Okay. One thing you will notice, a very important thing that you are going to notice is, when you run the program, it will show the first record. Why it is showing the first record? Because if you look at here, because when the form is loaded, you see this form is loaded, you go and fill the data set, no doubt, and you display the first record, index 0th record. This is the index 0th record. This is the one that it's going to show. This is the one that it's going to show. That's the first record it's going to show. Now only that is left out with us is when you click on this last, you have to go. When you click on this, the last, the first and the last, you have to go, and one down, one up. This is what you are supposed to do it. So let's go ahead and let's do this one. This is all fun now. So let's go here. and let me double click on this one. Okay, so when I double click on this one, what is the first record? How can I go to the first record? First record is always index 0, and I'm going to call this a display method. The method I have just written here, this is the display method. I call this display method. I clicked on this display method, and in the display method I'm going to ask it to show the ith record. Okay, that's done. Let's go to the last record. I'm going to double click on this last record, double click on this last record. How do I go to the last record? I value is, now go to the data set. Data set has lot of tables. Table, I'm interested in the first table. Table has lot of rows. Okay, and I'm going to call the count. Remember, count is 1 2 3 4. I want the index, so 1 less than the count. If there are 5 records are there, last index is 4, 1 less than that. Then I'm going to call this display method. Okay, that's simple as that. What about the other one? When you do this, go to the previous record. I'm going to double click on this. When you go to the previous, how do you go to the previous? I minus equal to 1. So what is this minus equal to 1? For those who are not familiar, what is this? I is equal to I minus 1. So that is what I'm typing. Now this is not the remark statement in C. I'm sorry, in this VB, that is a C or other programming language. Java also you can use. That is I is equal to I minus. This is a remark statement for those who can't, who have color blind. So this is a remark statement. Okay, this indicates I is equal to I plus 1. If you don't get it, write the common thing. I is equal to I minus 1. So this is a short form of writing. I minus equal to means it's a short form of writing I is equal to I minus 1. Okay, you studied it in your C programming. So let's go for the display, and I'm going to display the ith record. What about the next record? Let me double click on this, and I say I plus equal to what is 1. This is 1, this is I. Remember, this is I is equal to I plus 1. This story is same as I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, this is what I am writing in very short form. You can write it. What about I plus plus, I minus minus? You know very well. Don't ask it. You are studying Visual Basic, so you know very well what is the problem with I plus plus, I minus minus. So I decrease it when I click on this. I increase it when I click on this one and show it. As simple as that. So let's go and let's do it. So I can go to the next record. Sunita is there. I can go to the previous record. I can go to the last record. That is Sunita. It's only 2 records are there, and the next one. So I can add, clear the content, and then type it. So let's say Dhanush. Okay, and he has written C++ programming. Okay, and the price is 500 rupees 75 paise. Save it. Okay, go to the first record. It is, let's go to the here and just show it. First record is money, last record must be Dhanush. So first record is money, no doubt. Last record is Dhanush. Previous to Dhanush you have Sunita. So previous, if I go back previous, it is Sunita. Again previous to this Sunita is money. So if I go back, it is money. If I go forward from here, that means I must get to Sunita. So if I get to forward, I must get to Sunita. If I get one more forward, plus 1, I must go to the Dhanush. Okay, where is this Dhanush? If I'm still greedy and go to the next one, I must not get anything because that's the end of it. Okay, you may tempted to show a message box saying that you have reached the end of that the records, you have reached the first record and so on. Don't do it. Why? Because it is not asked. Don't do something that is not asked during the examination, but even in your project you may try to do it. That's a different story. So you can go back, you can come front and go to the first and last. So this is what is asked. So what I have done is VB form. When add button is clicked, you get a empty record. So that is what you can clear it, that even though that is not shown. and I'm going to say Radha as one other name. She is written happy living as happy cooking. Okay, some she has done that, and so her book is 560 something 0.87 paisa. Save it. Her record is saved, so I can save it. What about to delete? Yes, so that is it. I am going to delete myself. So will it work? So that we have not taken care. So how do I delete this? Oh, I forgot this whole story altogether. So even though we are going forward, backward, and so on and so forth, we have not deleted it. So let's go back to the delete story. So let's double click on this delete. And what are we going to do? We are going to go to the record. Remember, the current record has to be deleted. That is what they say. When the where is the delete button? Okay, navigation. The current record. Delete the current record. So if you are there in this, if you delete it, Dhanush record has to be deleted. So the ith record, whichever is the ith record, has to be deleted. How do you do that? So we have this. When this button is clicked, we have to delete it. How do we delete it? We will go to the data set. Data set has a lot of tables, and we are interested in the first table, and we have a lot of rows, and we will go to the ith row. Okay, the ith row, whichever row that you have selected, that is ith row, and ith row we are going to say delete it. As simple as that. So do you think any the syntax will be so difficult? However, you this delete will delete it. Where is this? It will delete. You have lot of records in the data set. Remember, this is the data set. You have a lot of records in the data set. So that story is there. You know very well this story is there. You have deleted one record from the data set, but that has to be shown in the database. So your database, this has to be highlighted. It's not enough if you remove it from the memory. In the physical record has to be deleted. How do you do that thing? You have to go to the data adapter. You have this story, you know, I started with this story. Data adapter is the one that is going to connect to the database. Unfortunately, you just told the data adapter that there is a select statement. You never told it how to delete the record. Delete from table. You know, you've done that thing in your Oracle. That story has to be told to the data adapter. But what I'm going to say, I'm going to say to the data adapter, I have given you the select statement. Look at the select statement and build the delete statement on your own. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. So how do I do that? I'm going to use the command builder. How do you create a command builder? Command builder is equal to new OLEDB, because you are using the Oracle, I mean, sorry, not Oracle, what is this? Access. If you are using Oracle, it is Oracle command builder. If it is your Microsoft Access, it is OLEDB command builder. So you build this OLEDB command builder, and now you are going to go to this builder, and you are going to tell the builder is get the delete command. Okay, so look at how simple it is. You just tell it, you build the, I have given you the select statement here. Look at the select statement and build the delete statement. So simple as that. You just build it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but you just build it on your own. Once you know that thing, go here to the adapter and then say update the data set. As simple as that. So this data adapter will take the pain. I think I have just forgotten DA. This, sorry, you have to give it the data adapter, otherwise it will build an empty builder. You have to give the data adapter here. Sorry, I just forgot. When I'm talking, I just forget sometime. This data adapter has to be, otherwise it will build an empty command and it says where is the data. You never gave me data adapter. You didn't give me this select statement. How can I build it? Yeah, so this select statement has to be given, and it is there in the data adapter. So that's what I've given it. So I gave it to the data adapter and said you build it, you update it. And the last thing we are always we are doing is we are so in love with this message box, that every now and then we just show the message box. So I'm going to say record deleted. Okay, and I'm going to just give the title that author details. Okay, that's it. Okay, so if you reach here, that means you have deleted. So let's go ahead and let's run it for the final round. So we have the records with us. We can go forward, we can go backward, we can go to the last record, first record, last record, we can do anything. And if I come to the first record and if I say delete, what it must do? It must say your record is deleted. Now actually my record is deleted. Okay, but there is one minor problem. If I look at my database and if I refresh it, money is deleted, record number 1 is deleted. Okay, it's deleted, it's gone. However, if I go next and confront, it is deleted. You see, first record is Sunita. Okay, and second record is Dhanush, and so on and so forth. So only one thing that I'm going to do is, once you delete the record, you just go to the next record. So remember, when you delete this record, you go to the next record. That's it. This is one extra step I'm going to do, because otherwise even though it is deleted from here, it will not be shown here. So that's one extra step I'm going to take it. How do I take the extra step? I'm going to say go to the next record. How do you say that? How do you say go to the next record? I is equal to I plus 1 and display I just copy pasted it, because Visual Studio allows me to make a copy paste. So it's simple as that. Let me run it and let's see whether we are done with it. I'm going to delete Dhanush. We use in middle of this. So Radha is last, Sunita is next, Dhanush is the middleman. Okay, you have this Dhanush here. So I'm going to, once I delete Dhanush, this is deleted and it will go to the next record, which is the Radha's record. So if I delete record deleted, it will go to the Radha's record. I'm going to just refresh it, because let it show it. So you notice that it is deleted. It's deleted. Okay, I deleted it. Now you can go back. First record is Sunita, last record is Radha. Okay, deleted. Okay, let me refresh it. Okay, it's gone. Okay, deleted. Database may take its own course of time for deleting it. Okay, so can I add a new record? So I'm going to clear it, add a new record, say Sandeep, and Sandeep has written cricket for beginner. Okay, price is 800 rupees. Let's say save it. It is saved. First record is let me refresh it. First record is Sunita, last record is Sandeep, middle record is Radha. If I go to the Sandeep and if I say I don't want that, delete it. Can I be able to delete it? Okay, what is the error? Okay, there is the problem with this one is the database will take slightly longer time for updating it. So last time you might have noticed that what is happening over here is okay, the problem with this problem is that when you add some records, so this is a minor problem with that. I'm going to just stop that thing. The problem with that, I'm going to just run it and then show it. Okay, when you add a new record, immediately if you start deleting it, it may not be immediately highlighted in the database. Okay, if I now go here and if I say delete, it will be deleted. Okay, so when you add it, see to it that you give some time for it to make a highlight for that. So that's why it says concurrency problem. Concurrency is you are already doing one work there, now suddenly you give one other work. So you are already doing some work, somebody else is coming and saying okay, you add it, immediately other person comes and delete the same. You have not added it. Before you could add it, you have deleted it. So suppose you see it is still showing that. If I refresh, can you see that deleted? It will take some time for the database to update the actual physically delete the record. So allow it for some time to do it. You are going to get that thing. So that with that, I'm going to stop this video. It has taken a longer time. So thank you for your interest. We will meet again in the next class.